You know, those moments, maybe it's 3 a.m., you're staring at the ceiling, not worrying exactly, but
Yeah.
just dreaming. Dreaming about a life where your alarm clock is maybe the sun, yeah, not some fixed schedule, and your commute is, I don't know, walking to the kitchen, not sitting in traffic. For so many of us here in the UK, that pull, that desire to leave the whole 9 to 5 thing behind, maybe hit 55, maybe even earlier, it's really strong. It's all about getting your time back, isn't it? Whether that means proper family breakfasts or getting out into the countryside or
Mm.
just quiet morning with no deadlines. And the really exciting thing is this isn't just some fantasy for, the super rich. If you plan smart and you're disciplined about it, early retirement is actually, well, it's surprisingly realistic for a lot of people. The key thing, as we're going to explore today, seems to be giving your money as much time as possible to grow.
Exactly. Time is crucial. And here in the UK, one of the really powerful and flexible tools you've got for building that financial freedom is the SIPP, the self-invested personal pension. So our mission today in this deep dive is to take that appealing idea, that daydream of early retirement, and turn it into something concrete, a confident, actionable plan, step by step.
Okay, SIPP, got it. We hear the acronym a lot, but let's break it down. What is a SIPP exactly, and how's it different from, say, the pension I might have from my job?
Right. Good question. So SIPP stands for self-invested personal pension. And the key words there are self-invested, because that really means you are in the driving seat. Unlike a typical workplace pension where maybe your employer or their provider chooses the investments for you. With the SIPP, you decide where your money goes. You can pick from, honestly, thousands of different options funds, individual company shares, investment trusts, all sorts.
Thousands.
Yeah, the choice can be huge, which gives you incredible flexibility. You can align your investments with your own values, maybe ethical investing, or just tweak your strategy as your goals change over time. And it's a personal pension, so it's completely separate from any schemes you have through work. You can pay in regularly, like a monthly amount, or drop in lump sums. You can even, and this is quite useful, transfer old pensions from previous jobs into your SIPP to keep everything in one place.
Ah, okay. Consolidation.
Exactly. So basically, think of it as a special account. A tax-efficient wrapper is the jargon that gives you both control and some really valuable tax benefits. And honestly, these days, getting one set up online, it's remarkably straightforward.
Yeah.
Much easier than it used to be.
That control aspect definitely sounds appealing. But, okay, let's talk numbers. Because that's where it gets real, doesn't it? The big question everyone always asks, how much? How much cash do you actually need in the pot to make this early retirement thing happen? Say, aiming for 55.
Ah, yes, the million-pound question, sometimes literally. And the honest answer is, well, it really depends. It depends entirely on the kind of lifestyle you want when you stop working. There's a common guideline people talk about, the 4% rule. It's a rough guide, but the idea is you might be able to withdraw about 4% of your total pension pot each year and hopefully not run out of money.
Okay, 4%.
So just to make that concrete, right, if you think you'd like an income of, say, £28,000 a year in retirement,
Yeah.
then using that 4% rule, you'd be looking at needing a pot of around £700,000.
Wow. Okay, £700.
Yeah. And here's a really crucial point for the UK context.
Huh.
You absolutely have to remember, you can't claim your state pension until you're 67 currently. That age might even go up.
Right, that gap is significant.
It is. So if you retire at 55, your private pension, like your SIPP, has got to cover all your income needs for those first, 12 years? Until the state pension kicks in. That's a big chunk of time. Now, to help people get a better handle on these numbers, the PLSA, that's the Pensions and Lifetime Savings Association, they've done some great work. They've developed these retirement living standards.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those.
They're really useful. They basically break down retirement into 3 different lifestyle levels, which gives us some helpful benchmarks. So first up, they have what they call a modest retirement. For that, they reckon you'd need about £14,400 a year. This covers all the essentials, obviously. It allows for maybe one holiday in the UK each year and eating out occasionally, maybe once a month. But importantly, it generally doesn't include the cost of running a car.
Okay, essentials covered,
Oh.
basically.
Pretty much. And for that modest lifestyle, the target pension pot they suggest is around £360,000.
£360,000.
I got it. Then you move up to what they call comfortable. Now we're talking about needing around £31,000 a year. This level gives you a bit more breathing room. It allows for things like regular holidays in Europe, maybe 2 weeks a year. You can afford to run a car. And you've got more budget for hobbies, recreation, eating out more often.
That sounds more like what people might picture, perhaps.
Well, quite possibly, yes. It's a significant step up. And to fund that comfortable retirement, The target pot size jumps up quite a bit to around 782,500 pounds.
Okay, nearly 800,000 pounds. That's close to the earlier example.
It is. And then finally, there's the luxury level. For this, the PLSA estimates you'd need an income of about 43,100 pounds a year. This allows for, more extensive travel, maybe long-haul trips, replacing your car every 5 years. Plenty of flexibility for shopping, meals out at nice restaurants, helping family members perhaps.
The top tier.
Essentially, yes. And for that level of comfort and freedom, you're looking at needing a pension pot of 1,067,500 pounds. So just over £1 million.
Those PLSA figures really do help paint a picture, don't they? Modest, comfortable, luxury. It makes it less abstract. But I have to say, even that 360K, let alone to soften 180K or over $1 million, seeing those numbers, especially if you're just starting out or maybe in your 30s, it can feel, well, a bit overwhelming, maybe even impossible. What's your advice for someone looking at that mountain and thinking, how on earth do I even start climbing? How do you break that down mentally?
That's a really, really important point because yes, those big final pot numbers can feel incredibly daunting, almost paralyzing sometimes. My best advice is probably to try and flip your focus. Instead of staring at the summit, that massive end goal figure, just focus on the very next step in front of you. What can you realistically afford to save this month? Maybe it's £100, maybe it's £500, whatever it is, start there. Then think, okay, can I maybe increase that just a little bit next month or after my next pay rise? Break it down into those manageable monthly contributions, which we are about to talk about. And then crucially, you have to trust the process because the magic ingredient here is compounding. Those small, early, consistent contributions, they do a massively disproportionate amount of the hard work over the long run. It's about making a start.
Right. Focusing on the next step, not the entire staircase at once. That makes sense. But speaking of those contributions, you mentioned we're about to get into them, and seeing the kind of monthly figures needed, yeah, it can be a bit of a shock, can't it? So, okay, we know the target's modest, comfortable luxury. How do we actually get there? How do we hit those numbers and make the dream real?
Yeah, this is where the rubber meets the road. And you're right. Looking at the required monthly savings, especially if you start later in life, can feel like a bit of a financial jump scare, as you put it, because the single most critical factor in hitting these goals is time. Starting early makes an unbelievable difference. Let's take that comfortable retirement pot again, around 782,500 pounds. And let's assume, just for illustration, your investments grow at an average of 5% per year after charges.
Okay, 5% growth.
If you start saving for that goal at age 25, you'd need to put away about 940 pounds every single month. Now, that's still a lot of money, a big commitment, absolutely. But starting at 25 gives your money the maximum amount of time, 30 years, if you retire at 55, to grow and compound.
30 years of growth. Okay. What if you start later?
Well, this is where it gets stark. If you wait until you're 35 to start saving for that same 782,500 pound pot,
Yeah.
the amount you need to save each month more than doubles. You need to put away roughly 1,900 pounds a month.
Wow, double. Just for waiting 10 years.
Exactly. The power of that lost decade of compounding is huge. And if you delay starting till you're 45, well, then the monthly figure becomes really quite staggering. You need to find around 4,900 pounds per month to reach the same goal by 55.
4,900 pounds a month. That's a massive amount for most people.
It really is. The lesson could be clearer, could it? You need to leverage time. Start as early as you possibly can. Think of compound growth, like rolling a snowball down a hill. The longer it rolls, the more snow it picks up, and the faster it grows bigger. It's exponential.
Right, the snowball effect.
Precisely. Your initial investments earn returns, and then those returns start earning their own returns. It's this earnings on earnings effect that does the heavy lifting over decades. It's your absolute best friend for building retirement wealth. And look, even if you look at those figures, 940 pounds or whatever, and think, I can't manage that right now, that's okay. The key is to start with something. Every single pound you save makes a difference. Consistency is vital. You know that saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, the second best time is now. It's exactly the same with saving for retirement. Just start today.
That snowball analogy really hits home, and it perfectly leads into the next point, doesn't it? Because there's another way to essentially make your snowball bigger right from the start: tax relief.
Absolutely. Tax relief is, it's basically free money from the government added to your pension pot. It's a huge accelerator. So what's really fascinating here is how it works. For most people, basic rate taxpayers, when you contribute to your SIPP, the government adds basic rate tax relief directly into your pot. So, to get 100 pounds into your SIPP, you only actually need to pay in 80 pounds. The government automatically tops it up with the 20 pounds.
So an instant 25% uplift on your contribution, effectively.
Exactly. It's an immediate boost before your money has even had a chance to be invested and grow. Now, if you're a higher rate taxpayer, it gets even better. You still get the 20% added automatically into the SIPP, but you can then claim back the additional tax relief, the difference between the higher rate and the basic rate through your self-assessment tax return.
Ah, okay. So even more benefit there. Definitely. This isn't just a small perk, it's a massive incentive. Think about it. That free money component starts compounding along with your own contributions right from day one. Over decades, this government top-up and the growth on that top-up can add a really substantial amount to your final pension pot. Far more than you'd get in, say, a regular savings account or even an ISO where there's no upfront tax relief like this. There is an annual limit, mind you. You can contribute up to £60,000 a year or 100% of your earnings, whichever is lower. Most people won't get near that limit, but it's worth knowing it's there. It's just a really powerful tool you don't want to ignore.
Free money and immediate growth.
Yeah, that's pretty compelling. Okay, so we've got the tool, the SIPP. We've got the target numbers, maybe based on those PLSA standards. We understand the power of starting early and grabbing that tax relief. So for someone listening right now thinking, okay, I'm convinced I need to do this, what's the actual first step? How easy or difficult is it to actually open one of these SIPP accounts?
Honestly, it's surprisingly straightforward these days.
Yeah.
Much less hassle than you might think. You can generally do the whole thing online in maybe less than half an hour. The very first thing to do is compare different SIPP providers. There are quite a few out there.
What should you look for when comparing?
Good question. Key things are fees, really important. Look at the platform charges, any dealing charges, and also the costs of the underlying investments or funds you might choose. Fees can really eat into your returns over time, so keep an eye on those. Also look at the range of investment options they offer. Do they have the funds or shares you might be interested in? And, importantly, how easy is their website or app to use? You want something that feels comfortable.
Right, usability matters.
Definitely. So once you've picked a provider that looks right for you, you just go through their online sign-up process. You'll need to provide your personal details, national insurance number, that sort of thing. Then you make your first contribution. You can usually set up a regular monthly payment via direct debit, which is great for consistency, or you can start with a lump sum if you prefer. And as we mentioned earlier, this is also the point where you might want to think about transferring in any old pensions from previous jobs. Most providers make this process relatively simple too.
Okay, sign up, contribute, consider transfers, then the investments.
Yes, then you need to actually choose where your money is invested within the SIPP. Now, this can feel like the scary part for some people with all that choice, but most providers offer help. Many have ready-made portfolios, sometimes called target risk or lifestyle funds, designed for different levels of risk appetite or different retirement dates. Or, a really common and often very sensible starting point is just to pick a simple, low-cost global tracker fund, something that invests broadly across the world's stock markets.
Keep it simple, especially at first.
Exactly. My advice is usually don't let the investment choice paralyze you. Start simple. You can always learn more and adjust your investments later on as you get more comfortable. The most important thing is just to get started.
That sounds genuinely doable. Not nearly as intimidating as maybe it sounds initially. But of course, like you said, getting started is one thing. Staying the course, keeping that consistency up over potentially decades, that's the real challenge, isn't it? That's the marathon. What are your top tips for staying on track long term?
You're absolutely right. Setting it up is the sprint. Sticking with it is the marathon. And discipline here is key. Probably the single most effective tip is to automate your savings. Set up that direct debit to go out of your bank account, ideally just after you get paid.
Pay yourself first.
Precisely. Treat your SIPP contribution like any other essential bill. It just goes out. You don't have to think about it each month. It just happens. That removes the temptation to spend it elsewhere. Secondly, and this is so important, try not to panic when markets inevitably dip. Stock markets go up and down in the short term. That's completely normal. Selling when markets fall often just locks in your losses. History strongly suggests that staying invested, perhaps even continuing to invest through the downturns, what they call pound cost averaging, tends to lead to better results in the long run. Think long term.
Easier said than done sometimes, but crucial.
It really is. Thirdly, make it a habit to review your plans, say, once a year. Just check in. How's it performing against your expectations? Are your contributions still on track for your goal? Do you need to adjust anything? As you get maybe 5-10 years away from your planned retirement age, you might also want to consider gradually shifting some of your investments into lower risk assets, like bonds, to protect your pot from sharp market falls, just before you need it.
De-risking, yeah.
Exactly. And lastly, a really powerful habit. Whenever you get a pay rise or maybe a bonus, try to allocate at least some of that extra money to increasing your SIPP contribution. Even relatively small bumps in your monthly savings can make a surprisingly big difference over many years, thanks again to that compounding effect. Ultimately, it comes down to consistency and discipline. They are your absolute best allies on the journey to early retirement.
Okay, so automate, stay calm during dips, review annually, and boost contributions when you can. That sounds like a solid plan. We've covered a lot of ground here. We've unpacked what a SIPP is, looked at those potentially daunting target numbers using the PLSA standards, but crucially, explored the incredible power of starting early, compound growth, and tax relief to actually reach them. We've even walked through how relatively simple it can be to get started and the key habits for staying on track. It really reinforces the message, doesn't it? Early retirement isn't just some far-off dream. It can be an achievable reality right here in the UK if you plan smart and use the right tools like a SIPP. And while those big final numbers can seem huge, breaking them down into those monthly steps, focusing on that next contribution makes it feel, well, much more possible.
Absolutely. And it's so important to remember why you're doing this. It's not just about accumulating money for its own sake. It's about buying back your time. It's about gaining the freedom to live the life you really want, whether that's spending more time with family, traveling, pursuing hobbies, or just enjoying peace and quiet. You listening now, you genuinely have the fundamental knowledge and the tools available to start building that future for yourself. The path is clearer now.
Yeah, the path is clearer. The only thing left, really, is to take that first step, isn't it? To actually act. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because let's be honest, it probably never arrives. Just make a start. Go online this week. Compare some SIPP providers, open an account, set up that first contribution, even if it's small to begin with. Pick a simple, diversified investment. Your future self, the one enjoying those leisurely breakfasts or exploring the countryside, would be incredibly grateful that you started today. The whole journey to early retirement, it really just begins with that one single decision, that one first step. Make it now.